Hello everyone, I'm here to discuss all about search algorithm. But first, let's explain what is search algorithm. So, the search algorithm are used to search or find one or more than one element from a dataset. These types of algorithms are used to find elements from a specific data structures. There are two types of search algorithm. First is sequential search algorithm. In this list of array is traversed sequentially and every element is checked, and the example is the linear search. Next is the type search of algorithm is interval search. Interval search are specifically designed for searching in sorted data structures. The example is binary search. So now I will construct a sample code to be discussed in this video. So let's start coding. And now we're done. So let's discuss the code line by line. So after creating the Java project, we imported a scanner library. Then we created a static scanner object with the name of SC. This scanner will be used to scan the data that the user inputted and store it to the variables that it needed to be stored. Then we will create int variable rsize. This is where the size of the array will be stored. Then we prompted the user to input the size of the array. Then rsize equals sc.nextInt will store the inputted value by the user to rsize variable. Then we create an array int r equals new int that rsize. Then we prompted the user to enter the elements for the array. Next is we created a for loop so that the user can input element and store it in the array. Next, we prompted the user a value to be searched in the array. Then ask the user if the array is sorted or not, then store their answers in a char sort variable. Enter y if it is sorted and n if not sorted. Then we create two variables. The char sr8 research type. This will where the answer of the user in what type of search they want to do will be stored. Then we created a switch statement for the decision process. So switch sort, this will get the data inside the sort variable and compare it with the cases inside the switch statement. If case y, it will output a menu of the search type they can do. Then ask the user what is their choice and store their choice in the search type variable. Then we create another switch statement. Switch search type. This will get the data inside the search type variable and compare it with the cases inside the switch statement. So if the search type is A, it will execute the case A. Inside this case result, linear search, R search, this will call the linear search method and pass the R and search variable. It will become the parameters for the linear search method. Next, inside the linear search method, we create an int variable with the name of n and initialize it to r.length. Then we created a loop, then test if I is less than n. If true, it will be execute what's inside the for loop. That if true, it will test the if ri is equal to x. X as the data of the search variable. If ri is equal to x is true, and it will return I. I is the index of the element that is equal to x. And after return I, we return to case A. After calling the linear search break is executed, it will stop in executing the switch statement. Then it will proceed to execute the codes after the switch statement. Next, if the search type is B, it will execute the case B. Inside this case result, result equals binary search R search. This will call the binary search method. Inside the binary search method, we create int L variable and initialize it to 0. This will be the lowest index of our array. Then int R variable initialize to R length -1. This will be the highest index in our array. Then we created a while loop. The condition to execute in the while loop is L is less than or equal to R. If this is true, it will execute the codes inside. Inside the while loop, we created an int variable m and initialize it to L plus R minus 1 divided by 2. This will find the middle index of the array. Then test if R m is equal to x. If it is true, it will directly return the current value of m. If false, it will proceed to execute the next if statement. If Rm is less than x, it will initialize L to m plus 1. M plus 1 will increment m by 1. If false, it will initialize R to m minus 1. M minus 1 will decrement the value of m by 1. Then repeat the iteration if the condition of a while statement is true. Then return -1 if the value the user is searching in the array is not present in the current array. Then back to the case B. Then after calling the binary search break is executed, it will stop in executing the switch statement. Then it will proceed to execute the codes after the switch statement. Next, after executing the switch search type break is executed, and it will proceed to execute the code after the switch statement. But if in switch.sort case is n, it will output a menu of the search type they can do and ask the user what is their choice and store their choice in the search type variable. And we created a dual statement. The while condition is search type is equal to B. If true, it will continue to execute the dual statement. Inside this dual statement, it will ask the user to enter their choice in the type of search they want to do. Then store it in search type variable. Then we created another switch statement inside the case n. If search type is A, it will execute the case A. Inside the case result equals linear search R the search. This will call the linear search method and pass the R and search variable, and it will become the parameters for the linear search method. Inside the linear search method, we created an int variable with the name of n, initialize it to that r.length. Then we created a loop. Then test if I is less than n. If true, it will execute what is inside for the for loop. If true, it will test if ri is equal to x. X has the data of search variable. If ri is equal to x is true, it will return I. I is the index element that is equal to x. After return I, we return to case A. After calling the linear search break is executed, it will stop in executing the switch statement. Then it will proceed to execute the codes after the switch statement. If search type is B, it will execute the case B. This case will output binary search is not applicable because the array is unsorted. Since the binary search is only applicable to sorted array, since the user enter n when asked if the array is sorted or not, then the user will be asked again until the user inputted A to execute the case A. After executing the dual statement break is executed, then we proceed to execute the remaining code. But if the user entered a different character other than y or n, if the array is sorted or not, it will execute the default in the switch statement. Inside this default, it will output invalid character y or n only. Then break. After the switch statement, we proceed to the to output the elements of the array. To output the elements in the array, we created a for loop. As long as the condition is not false, it will continue to the iteration. Inside this for loop system, that print ri plus quotation mark, this will output the elements in the array. So after the for loop, we test if the result is equals to -1. If true, it will output the element not found. This means that the element that the user is searching is not present in the array. If the result is equals to -1 is false, else will be executed inside this else. The value that you search for is index location plus result plus of the array. Plus result is the index of the element that the user is searching. Then print thank you for using this program will be the output. So that's all for the search algorithm, and thank you for watching.